So let's look at an example of how to use interface compatible. So I have a circle class. So this circle is not implements compatible, so I'm going to make compatible circle class that extends from circle. So I get an attribute of circles. Now I'm going to implement comparable. Actually, before implementing, let's see if I can use array sort. So I'm going to, since array sort required you to have the object that implements comparable, otherwise cannot sort. So comparable circle sort. So I'm going to create an array of comparable circle and use array to sort. So comparable circle list of comparable circle, list of circle equals to new comparable circle. Now we just need to comparable. We don't want to instantiate yet. We want to create the size of array 10 circle. Let's say 3 circles to sort. But this is an array. I have to specify brackets, right? Now, can we call array dot sort like this, right? Arrays. So that's the sort. And what we want to sort, we want to sort list of circles. We're going to import this in. Now we're going to make circles. List of circles. Let's say 0 equals to new comparable circle. Now we need to construct the code for the constructor, right? So public comparable circle, this is a constructor. So since we extend from circle, we just call super, right, and pass in the radius, right, radius. So we can have two constructors, right? With the default one, if it's not passing in the default, whatever it is, it's going to keep the radius as 1, right? Now we're going to call the one that the user is going to specify. So let's say this is going to be double. Radius. So super radius. So we're done implementing it. Now come to the sort. Now I'm going to create a new circle with the radius like 5. And we're going to do the same with different size to see if we can sort 10, 11. So maybe I just put 15 to see. Let me make it in order. So after sorting, I want to just print out the information of, let me see if it's working. So array after sort, it should print out the list back. List of circles. And this is going to be for each. We're going to use for each. So something like that, right, for each. For comparable circles value. For each value of list of circles, we talk about how to use for each, right? We're going to print out the values instead. Now we can see the information printing out. Alright, no part exception. Raise sort list of circles. So I say that there's a problem, right? With this. So you see, we have to fix like index. We try to access for page. To sort is accessing an index 1 and 2. It's not gonna work. We have a 0. Now we have a problem again with comparable. You see that you cannot sort that. Say comparable circle cannot be cast to comparable because comparable circle is not compatible. We can sort it. Like this is an error that if you don't implement interface of comparable, if you don't use it, it's fine. It's not gonna be sorted though, right? So we want to use this. I want to sort my array. What I'm going to do? You may have to write the code manually here. But we said we have this sort. Why don't we have to write the code manually? So we should make my comparable circles implements the comparable. So once implement comparable, so you are required to implement the methods, right? Which is compare to. Alright, so we are to implement compare to, which is override the abstract method compare to of the compatible interface. Now we have to make the implementation here. That implementation is based on how you want to compare, based on radius or based on the area, right? So if I want to based on the radius, it's fine too. So we say if compare to is going to take in using an object. If it's an object, you cast back to circle. But we know this is a circle, so we're going to make a circle. What type of circle? We want to compare. That's why I implement an interface here. You can actually do like compatible circle like that too. Like we try to compare the circle. So which is the compatible circle only that we can compare, right? Like that, right? If compatible circle dot, now we should be able to have an access. I call it all, right? Dot. Compare to. We should be able to access compare to method because object of compatible circle implements compare to and has compare to method. Right? Comparable circle. Do we want to compare the object itself or we want to get the radius first? So let's get the radius. We want to compare by radius. So radius. Now we're going to have to refer to the radius of my current radius here, right? So how do I refer to object this dot get radius, right? Dot compare to or o dot get radius, and we know o dot get radius can do compare to dot. Now get radius itself, you just get the radius. We don't need to compare to. So if this dot get radius greater than o dot get radius, what do? We compare this object to the object that we send in. Okay, so just like If it's greater than, what you want to do? Let's look. Returns plus or minus. Is the original object greater than the one compared? We say greater, return 1. Original object greater than the one that we try to compare, we return 1. Else, if it is less than. So if it's less than, then we return -1. Else, that means it is equals. So if it's equals, then we return 0. So then we're done. That's how we implement compare to. Now we're done. We're going to test again. We should be able to use sort. Run it. It should sort for me. There you go. It's a sort by radius 10, 11, and 15. So that's the benefit of using compatible interface. And you can just do a random sort. Because a random sort requires the object has to be implemented compatible. Object is compatible. So you can look at the code from the slide here too. This is for rectangle. So rectangle do the same, extends rectangle, implements compatible with constructor width and height, and compare to implements right. If it's implement compare to, returns 1 greater than, less than, minus 1, returns everything equals. This is toString. And sort do the same. We don't sort circle, we sort rectangle. Extension objects in array, and create rectangle and sort it. So this is the same rectangle. Now we also have the interface name clonable. So what's that? Comparable, we have seen that when we want to compare two objects. Now the same, if we want rectangle to be clonable or circle to be clonable, clonable is just like make a copy of that whole object. Then you have to make an interface or make circle implements clonable. Like we said, we can make a multiple interface, right? So like here, circle can do comma and implements what? Clonable. Then they can clone this object. Right, so when you make clonable, right, and empty, this is an empty interface. There's no method. You're not required to implement anything in an interface just like that. But this marker interface used to denote that a class possesses certain desirable properties. A class that implements clonable interface is marked clonable, and its object can be cloned using the clone method, which is defined in the object class. So clone method happens to be defined in object class. When you mark the object as clonable, then you can use that clone methods like that. So let's look at example, right? Like many classes, date, calendar in Java library implements clonable. So the instances of the classes can be cloned. You can just say calendar copy. Like you can do .clone. So calendar copy is pretty much the same, right? When you do compare, since clone is the reference, you have to do .equals, so it's going to be true. Calendar and calendar copy is going to be the same. But if you do comparison like this, 2 equals, that's just the values. It's just compare the address, location, reference. It's not going to be true, right? So, but calendar has to implement the equals. How do we do equals? So you can look at the code here the same, like if I want to clone, so I can just say compatible circle clone circle equals to, so we can just say use the list of circles index 0 dot clone. So this will return object. I need to cast it to be comparable circle, and then that should be happy. Still have an error.